Hello. So I am in a deaf hearing relationship. I'm the deaf one. My boyfriend is the hearing one. And someone asked me how being in a deaf hearing relationship is and if it affects, anybody else around us. I can't say there's anything like really special, like really unique about this kind of relationship. It's like any other relationship except multiple languages can be used, which can even happen in hearing relationships, But I would be lying if I said that there hasn't been any interesting moments that occurs in having or being in this kind of relationship. For the record, there's way more support than no support. In fact, I don't think there's really any no support, but there has been some moments when people like to use that or use the fact that I'm deaf to try to say some things depending on what kind of situation is occurring beforehand. So my boyfriend and I, we pretty much have the same mutual friends because we've both been involved in YouTube one way or another. In fact, YouTube is actually how we met, so that just kind of happened. We have some non-mutual friends, but that's usually from like childhood. Like, we're in a long distance relationship, so he has his friends over where he lives, and then I have my friends over where I live, right? So a couple of things that I can think of that happens when we're together and we're with other people is that instead of talking to me and instead of like accommodating me, like if I'm trying to get something written down, if you're asking me a question, they kind of go to him and be like, okay, so can you ask her or can you tell her? This happens during like social time, family time sometimes. This happens a lot when we're in like business kind of things. Like, to better explain, one time when I was coming home from my first trip in Toronto, we went up to the front desk at the airport because I was checking a bag, and my boyfriend was here with me because it was before going into security, and the guy at the front desk, instead of talking to me because I couldn't understand him and I was asking him to write stuff down, he would talk to my boyfriend instead. And I'm like, my boyfriend's like decoration at this point. Like, he's just here because we're gonna say goodbye, This is like a very sad moment, but anyways, like, I am the passenger here, like, hi, talk to me. So I feel like a lot of people can relate to this regardless of being in a relationship or not. Like, it can just be like a parent or something. If it's the hearing person, if a hearing person is with the deaf person, they're gonna talk to the hearing person because it's easier, right? But there have been two instances that people have used the fact that I was deaf against us, almost in a way, without going into very much detail. It's just kind of, oh, you're only dating her because you're trying to get like kudos, like cookie points. You're trying to get cookies and brownie points, like trying to seem like the good guy or whatever. And that's really the only bad thing that has happened. And the one thing I can say about that is pay that stuff no mind. I think it's something that bothers me for maybe the first 60 seconds, but then I get over it because I am in a very happy relationship, and anybody else who's in a deaf hearing relationship should pay these kinds of people no mind because they don't matter. As long as we're in good, healthy relationships, it's perfectly okay. I guess for others at first it's kind of confusing because it's like this new world that they've been put into, which I can completely understand. Remember, I grew up mainstream, so when I figured out that there was a deaf culture 5 years ago, I was like, what? So for them, they'll also just be like, what? And then they didn't really know how to communicate with me, and they were just kind of like, oh gosh. But now it's gotten a lot better, a lot easier. It never really was bad in the first place. There's been, some up and downs, but that's life. You work through it. There's that. If you are also in a deaf hearing relationship, I would love to know about similar stories because I know every relationship is different. There's been really good things and, really bad or even really awkward, but not too bad things. So let's have a conversation in the comments below. I'll see you later. Bye.